to facilitate.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Good morning. It's Sunday.
Is a citizen of El Salvador.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing this morning? Good morning, all my alley cats.
There is no
I am starting to shift this Sunday morning. How y'all doing?
If he were to come back, we would immediately deport him again.
Come on in. Make sure you grab your snacks, your cakes, your coffee. Make sure to drop a cat in the chat. If you're watching my channel, make sure to follow it. And if you're watching me on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All right. So I'm literally just clocking in. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little chefy chef. We're headed to a domestic disturbance dispute this morning.
It's been a big topic of conversation.
Sorry, my TV's loud.
Between the country, when the president visited the United States of America, it was discussed and talked about there. The president has been very clear on this issue, as the Secretary of State.
Let's roll out.
And I
see what the hell's going on. It's too early to be up in the morning fighting this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Who does not belong.
It is early in the morning. Why are y'all up fighting?
What's
the hell going on? But they better not have alcohol. They better not be drinking.
9-0 that you have to facilitate his release. And the fact that you can't even acknowledge the wording of the order, which commands you to facilitate his release. And advertising this.
And I gotta go with speed to go and arrest somebody.
That is
a balance of powers in a democracy that relies on the executive branch to honor decisions made by the highest court of the land. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. McMahon, good to see you. I've spent a lot of time over the years. I appreciate your willingness to sit for the committee and answer some really important questions. I want to talk to you about
there. It's so fucking far away. Hopefully I can fucking get here.
That commands agencies to use education to eliminate
early morning fighting
organizations and entities that support DEI programs and activities. As you know, this has a lot of schools all across the country scrambling because they have no idea what that means.
Let me know what's going on.
They don't know because the order doesn't define DEI as to whether they are in compliance or out of compliance and whether they are going to have their federal grants compromised.
They both sitting here arguing.
How does the school know whether it's running
but things done got worse. Okay.
Well, certainly. Thank you, Senator.
Early in the morning.
Y'all good to see you again outside of the state of Connecticut, where we run into each other. DEI, I think, has been...
Like, that's just wow.
It's a program that's tough. It was put in place ostensibly for more diversity, for equity and inclusion, and I think what we're seeing is that it's...
this is really... Okay, thank you, sir.
Have a nice day. Goodbye.
Let me go ahead and see. Sir, I need you to calm the fuck down. First of all, why are you up early this morning arguing? Like, it just doesn't make any sense, okay? It really does not. What could you guys, this person looks nervous. What could you guys be possibly arguing about this morning? Did she not cook the eggs right or something? Like, what is your deal, bro?
Can you describe what you saw?
Around Black History Month. So, if a school...
I didn't hit her. I just lost my temper. No. Why is she on the ground, sir? Oh, you know what? Let me go ahead and talk to her. Let me look and see what's going on.
Are they in violation?
Is that beer?
Hey.
So you've been drinking. The plants are all knocked down. The trash is knocked down.
Let me know what you saw.
I didn't do anything to deserve this. Oh, sir, don't worry, ma'am. Don't worry, ma'am. Oh.
You have some wounds that I can treat. Please don't move.
I am sorry, ma'am. Hold on, let me go ahead and call her an ambulance.
Because they believe that to be in compliance with this order, they cannot have groups structured around ethnic or racial affiliations. Would public schools...
I have a person who's been injured, requesting an ambulance.
If they had clubs that that students could belong to based on their racial or ethnic identity?
Well, it's too early today to want to address hypothetical situations. I would like, once I'm confirmed, to get in and assess these programs, and look at what has been covered.
You're saying that a possibility that if a school
Let me see. Can you hear me?
I'm still in shock, but I'm all right.
More shocked than hurt. Can you make it to the ambulance on your own? We need to take a closer look.
Okay, Doc. I can manage.
Why say drop my weapon?
I would like to fully order this and what this.
Why did it say drop my weapon? Like, why would I do?
Assistance officer.
That's pretty chilling. I think schools all over the country are going to hear that. What about educational programs, centered
Hi,
programs,
officer. Can you help me,
specific
please?
to different racial experiences? My son is in a public school. He takes a class called African American History. If you're
Hi,
going to
officer.
American
Can
history
you-
class,
Officer, help requested for an emergency. Please respond.
Of this executive order.
I'm not quite certain, and I'd like to look into it
Hello,
further and
officer.
get back to
I
you
need
on
your
it.
help,
There's a
please.
possibility
This is Patrol 4561. I'll handle the accident.
that public schools that run African American
We
history,
have received reports of debris
right,
on the
this is a
road.
class that's
Is there
been
an
taught
officer available to
in
remove
public
it?
schools for decades, could lose federal funding if they continue to teach African American history.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I would like to take a look at these programs and fully understand the breadth of the executive order and get back to you on that.
I think you're going to have a lot of educators and a lot of principals and
I'm
administrators
escorting you to the
scrambling right
police
now.
precinct.
Um,
All right, stay calm. I'm escorting you in the
could be
car now.
drinking this. If you're not drinking this, Culligan with Zero Water technology is certified to filter 5 times more contaminants than the leading filter, including pharmaceuticals.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My time's expired.
There can be no doubt. Elon Musk is a patriot. He has revolutionized entire industries, whether it is PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink. Across his businesses, there are so many things that he could be working on. But when President Trump asked him to join the administration, he answered that call. He said yes, and he committed himself to serving the American people and helping get this fiscal house in order. Last week, Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett said that all she wants for her birthday is to see Elon taken down. This rhetoric is inexcusable, and as the world's greatest legislative body, we should jointly condemn political violence. That's why I'm asking for unanimous consent to pass the resolution that condemns the horrific acts of violence, arson, and domestic terrorism committed against Tesla dealerships and facilities. There is no reason why Democrats should oppose this resolution.
Listen, come on. This resolution is not about violence or domestic terrorism. It just isn't. This is a resolution that says one thing, and one thing only. Elon Musk is in charge.
This is
Yeah.
Patrol 4561. I'll deal
More
with
than
the
anybody
accident.
else. Musk is subject to a different set of rules than everybody else. The Trump administration serves him, not us. The Republican Party serves him, not us. Elon Musk right now is effectively stealing from the American people. He's combing through our government, awarding himself contracts, canceling contracts for his competitors. He's shutting down agencies that stand in the way of his business, his growth. He's giving himself access to secret information about government enforcement actions against his competitors. He is also, at the same time, currently the largest funder of Republican politics in the nation. He spent $250 million backing
I
President
pulled you
Trump's
over because
campaign.
the police
He
computer
recently told
informed
the
me that this
president that he would
vehicle's
contribute
reported
another
owner has
$100
no
million
valid insurance.
to the
It's
president's
just a
political.
5-minute
And
drive.
guess what?
Nothing to worry
At
about.
that same time, the president stood on the White House lawn to give a taxpayer-funded commercial for Elon Musk's cars.
Can anyone help?
That's corruption at a scale that we have not seen before in this country. The
I'd like to see
integration
your ID
of
and
the
car
Trump
insurance,
White
please.
House
This is
and the
Patrol
Republican Party
4561. I
and
can
the
create the
business
roadblock.
interests of the richest man in the world. It's wrong. Now, this resolution claims to say something about domestic terrorism, but the only terrorism, the only violence it mentions is violence carried out against, you guessed it, Elon Musk. On an annual basis, there are
I have to issue a ticket for
11,000
your
reported
expired
incidents
ID.
of domestic
That'll
terror.
be between
11,000.
75 and
Consider it done.
$50.
Why does it cost so
handful of
much?
them impact
Would you please show me your ID
Tesla
and vehicle
dealerships.
insurance?
But they're
Sure.
the only
Here you go,
acts
officer.
of violence mentioned in this resolution. 52% of the reported attacks were based on racial or ethnic targeting by radicalized attackers, but they aren't mentioned in this resolution. Only Elon Musk is mentioned in this
You're
resolution.
being charged for
because
not carrying
different
valid insurance.
sets of rules
Oh, no,
apply
not
to
that.
him. Because he is in charge, he deserves protection that no one else
You can leave now.
gets.
Have a
He
great day.
deserves a White
All right,
House
you can
TV
go now.
commercial for his
Drive
cause.
safe.
He deserves to give himself contracts and steal from his competitors. He deserves to have his own resolution. And people are asking why. Why does the richest man in the country get this special treatment? To most people, it feels pretty fishy. It definitely feels wrong. Now, I hate violence of any kind, whether it's perpetrated against right, left, or center. I've spent my life on this floor fighting violence, but I also hate the inconsistency. So I'm going to make my colleague a pretty reasonable offer. At the same time that President Trump is saying that he's going to vigorously pursue people that attack Tesla dealerships, he's giving pardons to the people who beat the hell out of Capitol Police officers. So I don't think that we should consent to a resolution that says we care about violence, but only when it's committed against the business interests of the richest man in the world.
Hey, Bart.
And I have a way to solve that. Senator Murray has a really simple resolution. A resolution that expresses our disapproval
Objects
of the
obstructing
pardons
traffic
that
on the
were
road.
issued
Requesting an
for
officer
the
for the
very
cleanup.
specific set of individuals who on January 6th brutally attacked Capitol Police officers. I understand that many of my Republican colleagues think that the people who trespassed here shouldn't have been prosecuted. Let's set aside that disagreement. This
You have to
resolution
tackle
just
me
says
that
that the
hard?
specific set of people who viciously
I have to
attacked
arrest you for
police
larceny.
officers,
Please
the ones that
cooperate and step to the
hit the
sidewalk.
police officers over the head with metal poles, that those people shouldn't have been given a get-out-of-jail-free card. And so,
You are under
why
arrest
don't
for
we be
resisting law
consistent?
enforcement orders.
Why
Please
don't we
move to
say
the
that
sidewalk.
violence
Please,
matters
no.
when it's committed against
Show me your ID,
Elon
please.
Musk's dealerships, and it matters when it's committed against
Sure.
the people that protect
Here
us.
you go, officer.
And so, my offer is to just pass both resolutions right now. Right now. We could just agree
This is
by
Patrol
unanimous
4561.
consent
I'll
to your
deal with the
resolution, and
accident.
we could agree as a body that you shouldn't pardon the people who brutally beat the people
I will
who
proceed
show
with the
up every
search.
day
Please
to protect
cooperate.
us. They matter too. Elon Musk isn't the only person that matters. Capitol Police officers matter too.
Please drive to it and take care of the
So I'd ask the
I'm taking
Senator to
you to the
modify her
police
request to add the following: that the Committee on the Judiciary be discharged from further consideration, and the Senate now proceed to S-Res 42, a resolution condemning the pardons for individuals who are found guilty of assaulting Capitol Police officers, that the resolution be agreed to, and the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table. If we agree to move forward on this unanimous consent, I think we can move forward on the Senator's request as well. Thank you very much, Mr.
This is
Chairman.
Patrol
Thank
4562.
you,
I'll look for the
very much,
suspect.
Representative, for your commitment to the country and your willingness to serve. I deeply appreciate the work that you have done to combat anti-Semitism. I appreciate your commitment to bring that work to the United Nations. I think it is a cancer, both domestically and internationally. You and I worked together over the last year and a half to dramatically increase funding
Someone please help me.
for the not-for-profit
Please take your
security grant
We
program.
can
that
always count on
Senator
This is
Bernie
Patrol
Sanders
4561.
Jewish
I'll deal with the
community
accident.
centers to invest in security upgrades. I'm
All right,
heartbroken
you're free to
that
go.
we need to do
Enjoy
that.
your day.
It is an important moment to support
Please drive
those
there to
communities.
investigate the situation.
I agree that it's a problem you open in front of the UN, and it's also a problem, as you have raised, domestically, both on the right and the left.
Another unit will take care of it.
I think anti-Semitism work is best when we call
Objects
out
obstructing traffic on the road.
what's
Requesting
happening
an
on both
officer for
sides of the
cleanup.
aisle. What do you think of Elon Musk, perhaps the president's most visible advisor, doing two Heil Hitler salutes last night at the president's televised rally?
No, Elon
taking you
Musk
to the
did
police
not
station.
do those tweets. I was not at the rally, but I can tell you I've been at many rallies with Elon Musk, who
Please
loves to
cooperate
cheer
and get
when
into the
President
car.
Trump says we need to send, our U.S. space program to Mars. Elon Musk is a visionary. I'm looking forward to his work in DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, and look forward to looking how
Please
it can be
proceed with
more
me to the
efficient and
police
effective.
precinct.
But that is simply not the case. And to say so is the American people are smart. They see through it. They support Elon Musk. We are proud
Watch
to
your
be
head.
the country of such successful entrepreneurs. That is one of our
This is
greatest
Patrol
strengths as
4561
Americans.
Let me
taking care
share
of the
with you what a
accident.
few Americans have said about it. Evan Kilgore, a right-wing political commentator, wrote on X, "Holy crap, did Elon Musk just Heil Hitler at the Trump inauguration rally? This is incredible. We are so back." Andrew Torba, who's the founder of the right-wing Christian nationalist social platform Gab, said incredible things are happening as he amplified the visual. The Proud Boys chapter in Ohio posted the clip on a Telegram channel with the text "Heil Trump." A chapter of the white nationalist group White Lives Matter posted it on Telegram. Thanks for hearing us, Elon. The white flame will rise again. I could keep going. Over and over last night, white supremacist groups and neo-Nazi groups in this country rallied around that visual. Does it concern you that those elements of the neo-Nazi and white supremacist element in the United States believe that what they saw last night was a neo-Nazi salute?
What concerns me is these are the questions you believe are most important to ask the UN ambassador. I have a very strong record when it comes to combating anti-Semitism. We just had a historic election where President Trump earned
Patrol
historic
4561
support
responding.
from
I will set up the
voters
roadblock.
because of his strong leadership. Combating anti-Semitism, which has been a scourge across the country, skyrocketing since October 7th. So I intend to bring moral clarity to this position and continue to speak out as a voice, as a beacon of light, condemning anti-Semitism at the United Nations, which is representative of President Trump's record and President Trump's promises that he made on the campaign trail.
You are right. These are the questions I choose to ask because I think that your work, the administration's work on anti-Semitism, only comes with real impact and credibility if it holds both right and left accountable. I simply don't believe that if a member of the squad made that same gesture last night, that there wouldn't be commentary from you and others. So I want to make sure that our work has credibility, and credibility comes with calling anti-Semitism and anti-Semitism behavior out when it comes from both the right and the left. Let me just turn to one issue that's come up several times and ask you for a quick response. The decision to leave the WHO, I think, is a mistake, but I think you would agree that we are going to need to still find a way
Open the
to
door
play
and
a
exit the
role
vehicle slowly.
internationally
Keep your
in
hands clear of your
global
body.
public health standards. We do not want to let the Chinese essentially set those rules for us because ultimately pandemics will find a way to us. Can you commit to this committee, notwithstanding the decision to leave the WHO, that you're going to make sure we find a way to have impact on the global stage when it comes to global public health rules?
I support President Trump's decision to leave WHO. I have a record of that. But yes, I think we need to be the leader in terms of global health. I think that's very, very important. And there are programs within the UN that are very committed to global health. We are the leader when it comes to global health. We need to absolutely continue to be so.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you to both of you for being here today. A few years ago, we worked really hard across the aisle to pass the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, a bill that made changes in our gun laws, but in large part because it was a real priority for my Republican colleagues, also included billions of dollars in funding for school-based and children's mental health. Earlier this year, you did something extraordinary. You canceled $1 billion worth of existing ongoing grants to schools all across the country. And it's extraordinary because you didn't cut off new grants, you cut off existing grants. So in states all across the nation, blue and red, there are now mental health programs for kids that are shutting down. And kids who have been relying on really important adults in their life, and counselors and social workers, are losing access. You know Connecticut very well. You shut off a program that provides mental health resources to kids in crisis in Northwest Connecticut. When they did a survey of these kids and asked the kids who are in this particular program who the one adult was who they would go to if they were in mental health trouble or in response to a trauma, every single one of those kids in that program named the counselor funded by this program. You've shut that grant down. When those kids show up to school next fall, that trusted adult will not be there. You've told this program, as well as all the other programs, that the reason is they're violating civil rights laws. This program has no idea what you mean by that. And I guess I just ask you this. I'm sure you had to weigh the factors in making this decision, but did you worry about what your decision would do to these kids? These kids were ripped away, their counselors and social workers, literally in the middle of the program. Do you worry about what's going to happen to those kids in Northwest Connecticut and kids all across the country who have lost access to their trusted adults?
I certainly worry about mental health for children and adults all across the country. I certainly do.
I guess I'm asking specific. You must have weighed this. I assume you weighed this when you made this extraordinary decision to shut down $1 billion worth of mental health programming for kids. Did you worry about what you would do to those specific kids?
Well, what we have to do, I think, and that's what our simplified funding program is going to do, is to put programs into a single grant that's going to the states to be determined how that money can be best used.
But how did you weigh the impact? I'm not asking about this specific decision. How did you weigh the impact that, again, these kids in Northwest Connecticut, they literally say, this adult is the most important adult in my life.
Let me know what you saw.
You decided, you made a decision to shut down that program. And this can be replicated all over the country. How did you weigh the impact on those kids? It's a really cruel thing to do.
You have some wounds that I can treat. So, please don't move.
Did you think about the impact on those kids?
I've got an injured person. I need an
certainly
ambulance.
can't evaluate every particular program in every school district across the state. There are some areas that need mental health more than there are others. And there were programs in the mental health program that did deal with DEI and with gender issues, etc. And it wasn't just about the kind of things that you're talking about. So in totality, as we look at mental health grants across the country, we have to make sure that those programs are being used to serve best in those communities.
Okay, let me see what I can do. Can you hear me?
It hurts, but I think I'm fine.
Okay, good. Can you walk around and come with me to the ambulance for further examination?
Yes, let me
West
step.
Connecticut, and what we need is for the federal government not to rip funding away from these kids in need in the middle of the service program.
Or to better allocate the dollars you have and provide those professionals across the state.
Let me ask you another question. Obviously, we're trying to understand what the Department of Education is doing with respect to the threats you've made against institutions of higher education. In the letter that you sent to Harvard demanding that they make certain changes, you told them that they had to end all of their diversity programs, but that they had to institute viewpoint diversity. That doesn't seem to make sense. How do you tell them to end all the diversity programs? So we assume that this is a mandate that you will make of other schools as well. How do you ask them to end diversity programs while instituting viewpoint diversity? Those seems to be totally contradictory.
No, the diversity programs that we've asked and demanded to be eliminated were the DEI, where they were, those programs actually were pitting one group against another.
Isn't viewpoint diversity a diversity program?
A viewpoint diversity is exchange of ideas.
I need to do a search on you to see if you're carrying anything illegal.
Because Harvard only has 3%, by its own numbers, 3% conservative faculty. Do you think they are allowing enough of viewpoint diversity through that teaching?
Where in the statute does it give you the ability to cut off federal funding for a university based upon your decision, your determination that they don't have viewpoint diversity? Can you cite to a statute where Congress has given you to micromanage the viewpoint diversity of a college?
Well, certainly.
I'm watching this interview, y'all.
No, let's back up.
So that's why I'm kind of quiet.
No.
Can you cite a statute is you can't cut off funding for
It
universities.
says Chris Murphy's presses Linda McCann over cancellation of $1 billion in school mental health grant programs. So that's what I'm watching. The Trump administration has been just
This is Patrol 4561.
canceling all
I'll look
kinds
out
of
for you.
stuff for children. And so
I think it's the same
their discussion, they're having a discussion about it right now.
That's why we filed the case and defunded or stopped the funding for Waffle Harvard as well as we did Columbia. And in that conversation with them, we talked about different things that they should do coming back to the table to make their programming better. The president of Columbia absolutely indicated, as well as the president of Harvard, that they needed to do things on their campus to eliminate anti-Semitism. That was kind of the crux of what brought us into talking to the different universities. And then
This is
sat
Patrol
down with them
4561
to say,
speaking.
okay,
I
these
can
are
take your
other
request and
issues
set up a
that you
roadblock.
need to address on your campus because you do receive federal funding.
I'm willing.
Under federal funding, if you are breaking the law,
I'm
which
willing.
they did under Title
I know, I don't understand any conception of civil rights law to give you the authorization to micromanage viewpoint diversity on campus. That's not authorized under the civil rights title provided to you by the United States Congress. Thank you very much.
Senator Burkett.
Heading to the last known location right away.
Oh, that shit, that was smooth.
Civilians are the bastards. Delivers every
Peter, Mr. Billington, celebrate the holiday of Raising Cane's Chicken Finger.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Massey, control the remainder of my time.
Without objection. Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, may I inquire as to how much time?
17 minutes remaining.
I yield myself 2 minutes.
Gentleman recognized for 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, today is an extraordinary day in this chamber. My colleagues will vote for this measure. We will see justice triumph over politics. Truth will triumph over deception and obfuscation. Transparency will triumph over dark money. Partisanship will fall away to bipartisanship. Grassroots, the people, will reclaim the people's house with this vote. It's going to be a victory for survivors. Not just survivors of the Epstein sex trafficking scandal, the 1,000 survivors that exist. Some of them are victims. They're no longer alive. Some have committed suicide. They share one thing in common. Their youth was robbed from them. Much of their lives were robbed from them. But they're claiming it back. We're going to help them claim that back. It's not just a victory today if this vote prevails for those survivors. It's a victory for every person, man or woman, boy or girl, who's been victimized sexually in this country. Anybody who's been a victim of sexual assault. And maybe they've been victimized by family members. Maybe it's not a billion. But they're all waiting and watching to see what you do today. They wonder if I go to mom or dad, will anything happen? If I go to the sheriff, will anything happen? Well, we have a chance today to make something happen. Something that's not happened. Something that's these victims.
Yeah.
Transparency
Yo.
for America.
Oh,
that's what this day is about today.
Where the fuck they go?
I reserve the balance of my time.
Fuck, fleeing where?
Reserves, the gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Fleeing my ass. She tried to run. She got motherfucking stuck.
Recognized.
Fleeing.
I now yield
Police, stop!
5 minutes to the gentlewoman from Georgia, Mrs. Green.
Gentlelady from Georgia is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I proudly rise today in a bipartisan effort to release the Epstein files finally,
BPD, stop!
after 5 administrations have covered it up.
She tried to
Earlier
fucking hide.
today, I
What the fuck
attended
was
a press
that?
conference where the survivors, they're not victims, the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's sexual
You are
abuse
under arrest for resisting law enforcement
sex
orders.
trafficking
What?
told their stories. And they told stories about how it started
Damn, I destroyed
back
this
in
car.
1991.
I did not mean to destroy this
1996,
car.
And they continued on through the decades.
I have to arrest
And
you
they
for
told
driving a
stories
stolen
about how
car.
they told someone and tried to get help. They told the FBI, and they weren't listened
I'm
to.
escorting you
They
to
told law
police precinct.
enforcement, and no one did anything. And these women don't just number a few. These
All
women
right, stay
number
calm. I'm
around
escorting you in the car now.
1,000 women. And they are victims of something that's unthinkable. And this should have
I have
never,
a car
ever
here that
happened.
needs towing. Please send a
This
tow
was the
truck to my
biggest
current
fight I
location.
think I've seen in Washington, D.C. This is my 5th year here. And this was a fight that we should have never had to wage. It should have been the easiest thing for every single member of Congress. It should have been the easiest thing for the Speaker of the House. It should have been the easiest thing for the President of the United States to release all the information, every single file, on behalf of these American women. These American women aren't rich, powerful
This is
elites.
Patrol
They
4561.
do
I'll
not
deal
have
with the
someone
accident.
paying for their airline tickets, or paying for their trips, or paying for their expenses every time they try to do something to get this information out. These are your average Americans. And you want to know what the Epstein files represent, the cover-up represents to average Americans? It represents the failures of the federal government and Congress to the American people. And that is what people rose up about in 2024. They wanted and demanded transparency from their government, and for Americans finally
Time to go to the
be
cell.
put first. And today, with this vote, we are finally putting these victims and these survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and the cabal of rich, powerful elites that expands not just here in the United States of America, but to other countries as well. We're putting them last. And that is exactly what Americans want. You see, for far too long, Americans have been put last.
The person was
And they're
spotted with an
sick of
open
it.
warrant.
They're
The person is
sick and
driving the
tired of it.
described vehicle.
And
Is there a
this is
unit
why
available?
they don't trust Congress. This is why they don't trust the government. And here's the problem. All of these women
Please proceed.
who have suffered in shame for years and years and years, women who were terrified, women who were intimidated, women who were threatened, just like Virginia Giuffre. And now she's dead. And these women should have never faced that, for this information to come out. And we, especially the 4 Republican members of the House of Representatives, we should have never faced intimidation
Time to go to the
and
police
threats
precinct cell.
for us to get this vote to come to the floor. Never forget, there were 4. Thomas Massie, myself, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert. We had to sign a discharge petition, and we had to fight through intimidation, and we had to endure it for months to push that discharge petition finally to 218 to get this vote to come out. This is what the American people are sick of, and rightfully so. Now, where does this go from here? The question will remain, will the Department of Justice release all the information? Will a judge in New York release the information? Will the CIA release the information? And will foreign governments release their information? Or will this continue after this vote today be a cover-up? A cover-up
I'm
of the rich,
escorting you to the
powerful
police
elites
precinct.
that bond together in sex and human trafficking, abuse, and all types of global business that enriches them but never serves Americans. The American people will know, and the victims, actually the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, will know, because they know the list of names. And I remain dedicated to my promise to read those names here on the House floor, if those women ever find them in a place that it needs to be done. I yield back
Gentlelady from Georgia yields back. Gentleman from Kentucky reserves. Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized. Gentlelady reserves. Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
I yield myself a minute and 30 seconds.
Gentleman recognized. 1 minute.
I want to thank the generosity of Jim McGovern, Representative McGovern, for granting us this time. I'm embarrassed for my own party today. I'm embarrassed we withheld signing in, swearing in a duly representative of the people for 49 days just to avoid this vote that's finally going to happen today. I'm embarrassed that my own party isn't going to give me time to debate this, even though they say they support it, and I offered it. They don't even want to give me time to debate this during the bill debate. But I'm thankful. Let me tell you who I'm thankful to. These three brave women, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert. They have been threatened. They have been intimidated. Physically, politically, it's disgusting. And not by far left. They have been intimidated by people in our own party. And for what? For seeking justice for these victims. So, my hat's off. I congratulate them for standing strong. I've always wondered where were the Republican men during this battle. We've taken 5 months. These three women and I have had to drag our party to this floor today to even vote on this. And Ro Khanna is the most to be thanked here. In an extraordinary display of bipartisanship, he did not hesitate when I asked if we wanted to bring this bill to the floor together. He would stand in the trenches with me. He said yes. That I was there.
Gentleman reserved. Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself to stand as I make a clear.
Gentlelady is recognized.
Boy, we need to get facts straight here. President Trump's DOJ in his first term arrested and prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein. We on our side want justice to prevail in this case and in every case. Speaker Johnson has always been clear that if the discharge petition reached the necessary signatures, that the House consider the legislation, and that's what we're providing for in our rule today. In fact, as soon as the petition hit 218 votes last Wednesday, House Republicans offered a unanimous consent request to pass the legislation then. However, the Democrat leaders would not give consent to do that last week. Why? Because they're not really interested in this. They're interested in some other things. To correct the record, Mr. Massey did not request time.
Open the door and step out of the vehicle.
I give up.
Keep your hands away from your body.
Please
Don't try anything.
And he did not request time from me. I would have given him time.
You are being arrested for fleeing from a law enforcement officer.
Please don't do that.
Please show me your license and vehicle registration.
Yes, officer. There you go.
No te pierdas las ofertas del fin de semana de Black Friday en Jerome's. El viernes abrimos a las 8 a.m. con super ofertas increíbles. Obtén el descuento en el impuesto estatal sobre la venta o financiamiento sin intereses hasta por 60 meses en Jerome's.
A roadblock has been requested. Who's available?
Gentlelady reserved. Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
I'd like to now recognize the gentlelady from South Carolina for 5 minutes, Nancy Mace.
This is Patrol
Gentlelady from
4561
South
speaking.
Carolina is
I can
recognized
take your
for 5
request
minutes.
and set up a roadblock.
Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank my colleagues today for the time, Mr. McGovern and Mr. Khanna, for the 5 minutes on the floor to speak about an issue that is not political.
The reason why you're under arrest is because you have an
Helping the
open
survivors
warrant on
of Jeffrey
Please, don't do
Epstein
that.
and his horrific, gruesome,
This is
brutal
Patrol 4561
sex
taking care of the
trafficking ring
accident.
is deeply personal. And while we often
have many disagreements about a lot of issues, maybe most issues. Today, they are allowing us to speak on the floor, and I want to thank my colleagues, Congressman Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Lauren Boebert, the four of us making history today over the discharge petition and delivering justice for those who have desperately fought for it for, in some cases, almost 30 years. I wore white today because I wanted to reflect on the innocence of the young women who had their innocence stolen from a demon named Jeffrey Epstein, from demons, friends of his, rich and powerful people who stole their
taking care of the accident.
innocence as young as 14 years old. It was taken from them, and they've never gotten it back. I'm also wearing white today to recognize the courage that it takes for women to come forward, the sacrifices to them personally, professionally, financially, the embarrassment, the humiliation, the shame that we still deliver on the backs of women who have been brutalized, who've been raped, who've been assaulted. The shame that the media pours over their heads, that their colleagues, their friends, their neighbors, their loved ones, because you come forward and because you talk about sexual assault, you are not a slut. It's not because of what you wore. You're not a whore. But that's how women are treated, and you're not lying. And I want every woman to know, every Epstein survivor to know, every woman across the country who is a survivor, who is a victim of assault, that we see you. And this fight and this vote tonight, I see it is about the Epstein victims, but it's about much more than the Epstein victims. This is about the powerless, taking power away from the very powerful. This is about giving women who never had a voice, giving a voice to the voiceless. This is about their sacrifice. This is about having and recognizing their courage. This is about justice for the Epstein victims, but it's also about hope. Earlier this year, I gave a speech right here on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives, detailing trauma that I experienced, endured, and am a survivor of, that I accidentally uncovered 2 years ago, almost to the day. And today, I still don't have justice, like millions of women across the country. When I spoke out, I got attacked. When I spoke out, I was shamed. When I spoke out, I was defamed and smeared, and that goes on today, right now, in the present. God sure has a funny way of working through us. I, like many of the Epstein survivors and many other survivors across the country, I don't think I owe ever heal from the destruction my abuser did to me. But I can heal by being a vessel and being a voice for all those who need it, and that's why we are here today. That is why I will never abandon a single survivor ever, and I will never waver. I spent my morning talking to law enforcement and others about another potential Jane Doe number 5, who may be another sexual assault victim, the case that I uncovered 2 years ago. It's very difficult for us to come forward, but I want to thank the women who have, the Epstein victims in the case that I uncovered. I want to thank all of you for being a voice, for giving me hope. Maybe one day, I too can get justice. Thank you, and
I'm a checklist, and this is a wildfire emergency checklist. Sub-checklist: how to prepare for repair. 1. Build a wildfire emergency kit. I have one on every floor. Stock with snacks I don't like, so I don't eat them early.
Time to go
2.
to the cell.
Sign for alerts. Push notifications on my loved one. 3. Hope your neighbor's proud. I made cards with contact numbers. Landline, obviously. Remember,
Straight ahead.
bombshell ruling. Federal judges decide the state cannot use the new 2025 congressional districts redrawn and approved by Texas Republicans. We go in depth with reaction from Washington, Austin, and North Texas, plus what may have hurt Republicans in this case. It's decision week, according to Dallas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She tells us what the key factor is on whether she will run for U.S. Senate. And investigations ordered. Governor Greg Abbott explains why he's calling for state and local authorities.
Fingerprint and photo scan starting now. Please hold still.
He has designated as foreign terrorist organizations. Good morning, I'm Jack Fink. Get your fix for Texas politics. Eye on Politics on CBS News Texas starts now.
Capture finished. Your data is now being stored.
Hello and welcome to...
I don't even know how we got there, because I tried to make it clear how meaning civil rights, it doesn't just boil down to one conversation, but I can see that somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. You all want men with penises, chicks with in the bathroom with us. You want women to be forced to undress in front of men in the locker room and in dressing rooms. And it's so hypocritical for you to sit here and say and be, you know, screaming from the rooftops about the right to privacy and civil rights when you don't respect women. And you don't respect women who've been raped, women who were victims of sexual abuse. And you want me, a victim of rape, a survivor of rape, to go into a locker room and be forced to undress in front of a man? You have to be kidding me. So I don't want to hear about you talk about rights, individual rights, civil rights, because you can't find the courage from the 60s to fight for women all around America. Fight for women like me, every single woman. She gonna keep saying trans, 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 so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want you to know each other and not call me a child. I am no child. Don't even find out which of those emails actually has and reclaiming my time. And I am curious to know, for whoever goes next, do you ask your constituents when they call your office, are you a citizen or not? Because at the end of the day, I have to handle immigration cases as well in my office. We are elected to represent the people regardless of their citizenship, and we have to help them because they reside in our districts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think we should be taking the advice from a group of people who can't define what a woman is. You certainly can't define what government efficiency is. So let's just start right there, Mr. Chairman. I support the subcommittee, the creation of the subcommittee on DOGE. I wildly support Marjorie Taylor Greene as a subcommittee chairwoman. And again, to the party who says we don't like or support women, well, guess what? We have two women on this committee for subcommittee chairwomen who carry gavels. And we're working for the President of the United States, the President who made the first female chief of staff ever in the history of the United States. And I also want to correct the record of the ranking member earlier. There's no Republican up here who has quit Social Security. That is a lie. That is a lie being promulgated by the left, aided and abetted by the mainstream media, and all those liars out there on social media on the left saying that it's not true. And when we want to talk about oligarchy, we had Joe Biden, we had Nancy Pelosi, we had Chuck Schumer controlling everything on the Hill in the Capitol for years. And guess what? They've all delivered. They delivered the worst economy in history for Donald Trump. They have delivered more tariffs.
It is a very common
across the southern border.
I am sure it is just a coincidence.
Any administration in history. And so this subcommittee is greatly needed, Mr. Chairman. I hope that we all support it unanimously. Ms. Green, you're going to do a great job as subcommittee chairwoman. I would love to be waved on anytime you let me, because it's time that we stop wasting American taxpayers. It is time that we
step out of the vehicle.
We stop wasting time up here on the Hill. We stop wasting time here in Congress talking about BS.
Let me tell you something. Y'all need to find some people that actually care about their constituents And honestly, whenever y'all are
You're
ready
being
to work,
arrested for having an
we
open
on
warrant.
this side of the
Please
aisle have
cooperate.
always been ready to do what is right by the American people. Instead, what you can continue to do is go after the most vulnerable in our
I'll
country.
escort you to the police
fact
precinct
that you
now.
just sat up there and somehow figured out how to tie trans smoke to your argument makes no sense to me. But let me tell you something, trans people ain't going nowhere. Just like when the racists wanted to make sure that black people somehow were going to be dismissed in this country, we ain't left them. So I have a series of questions for you, Mr. Santos, that are yes or no. And so I would ask that you use yes or no when I ask these questions. Did the U.S. Census Bureau do anything to identify the immigration or
This is Patrol
citizenship status
4561.
of individuals
take that.
surveyed during the 2020 census? Yes or no?
No.
You have the
Are
right to
illegals
remain
counted in the census? Yes or no?
Yes, if they're permanent residents. If they reside in the U.S.
Okay, so when you're doing the census with folks and asking the question, you're asking them, you're not asking if they're a citizen, do you ask if they're a permanent resident?
We ask folks to list everyone who lives at that residence.
Okay, but you're saying you're only counting illegals if they're a permanent resident.
Or if they live at that residence. It's the interpretation of the
So
instruction.
your definition of permanent residence is that they live at a place in the U.S., at a U.S. address.
Yes, I believe I misspoke because there's a legal definition to permanent, to permanent resident. It's someone who usually lives at that address.
So I'm going to ask the question again. Are illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens, the people that break the law coming into our country when they enter in the door illegally, are they counted in the
Slowly
U.S.
step out
Census?
the
Yes or
vehicle.
no?
Close the door and put your hands in the air.
Have you noticed the National Guard in the news lately? This is the USA Facts quick take to give you some background. The
I have to
National
arrest
Guard
you
is
for
a
attempted
unique
vehicle
part
theft.
of the U.S. military. It is made up of Army
is Patrol
and Air Force
4562.
units
I'll
in
look for the
every
suspect.
state, some territories, plus
I'm
Washington,
escorting you to
D.C.
the police precinct.
Guard members usually train part-time
All right,
and
stay
can
calm.
be called up
I'm
in
escorting
times
you
of
in the
need.
car now.
With approximately 430,000 members, the National Guard plays a role in every element of national defense. Commonly, its members are
I'm busy with
involved
other
in
issues at
natural
the moment.
disaster responses, as well as wars overseas. Who controls it? Each state's governor commands the National Guard. The exception is Washington, D.C., which is always under the authority of the president. But under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president can federalize the Guard in any state.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Are there political implications for congressional apportionment in the Electoral College when we're counting non-citizens, when we're counting illegals, criminal illegal aliens in the census? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of the question.
Are there political implications for congressional apportionment in the Electoral College when you are counting criminal illegal aliens in the U.S. Census?
I do not know.
Oh, you absolutely know. Because apportionment is based on what? Is it based on what? Population?
Yes.
Population based on counts in the what? U.S. Census? Right, you're the director of the U.S. Census Bureau, correct?
Correct.
Why is this so difficult for you to answer honestly?
Well, no, it is what it is. So if there's more population, then you get...
You just said you didn't know if there were political implications for congressional apportionment in the Electoral College for counting illegals.
In all honesty, I am not a politician. I'm a scientist. And so we do our counts accordingly.
Okay, Mr. Science.
Sure, yes.
When you're doing apportionment, you're doing congressional seats based on population that includes illegal aliens. Does that have a political impact on campaigns when you're drawing those lines and having people vote in those elections?
They are counted in apportionment.
You're not being honest this morning, and I think it's a slap in the face to the American people. It is interesting that we're having this hearing, and I know one thing that I have learned so far is that while freshman orientation just ended, we need a course on what the census is for, because we have people sitting in Congress and have no idea what the census is for. And so I do appreciate that you have talked about what the funding is for, but it seems like my colleagues really want to zero in on southern states. So let's talk about Texas for a second. And let's deal with them and their concerns about their districts, and let's also talk about the citizen situation. So, I don't know how much you paid attention to the election, but we do have an incoming administration, and we have a border czar who has said that they are going to deport everyone that is here and is not a citizen. They are planning to do mass deportations. In fact, in the state of Texas, our commissioner has offered up land so that they can put these camps there and send people out of our country. Now, if you start asking people, are you a citizen or not, and they're living in a home, and somebody's threatening to go in, raid homes, and take everybody out and send them back to wherever they came from, I mean, I would imagine that they may make people say, never mind, I'm not going to fill this out. But, I mean, has that been your finding or not?
We have conducted research that shows that there can be selective inclusion of individuals who reside in the residence.
No, thank you. You don't like my content? Please remove yourself. Thank you.
Asking this question, and it's the same federal government that is threatening to go and yank people out of their schools, their homes, and things like that. And then we just had a conversation where we were talking about how many voters. Listen, when you're counting people, you're not just counting voters. You count children, don't you?
Correct.
You count a lot of people that aren't necessarily
I know several
voters.
games.
And I want to make sure
They pulled you over for driving a vehicle
really
that's
get to the
reported as
nitty-gritty on
stolen.
Texas. This is hilarious to me. Texas added 2 seats. In 2020, according to the census, and we know that there was a significant undercount, specifically in Texas, for a combination of reasons. But we know that specifically Texas added 4 million people. Of those 4 million people, do you want to take a guess at how many were Anglos? Just a guess.
I'd say a majority.
180,000.
I'd like you to leave your car.
That's it, of 4 million.
I don't get it.
95% of the people that were added, and we know that when it comes to minority populations, they tend to be undercounted. So get this. We added 4 million
shit,
people.
you wanna fight?
They were people of color.
Police, stop!
Texas got 2
Not
seats.
playing that this
So
morning,
they
buddy.
took
Get
those
on up.
Black and brown and Asian
Get on up.
votes. And guess what? Do you think that we got a new black, brown, or Asian seat?
Oh, hey, Mo.
Somehow, the way that they do their Republican math in the state of Texas, that amounted to 2 new white seats.
I
Guess
have to
what?
arrest
White
you for
Republican
driving a
seats.
stolen car.
We got 2 new
Please
Republican
cooperate and step to
out
the
of
sidewalk.
4 million people of color. So let me tell you, they love to use our bodies
I'm
to
escorting you to the police
apportion
precinct.
us in an inaccurate way. All right. So when we talk about
Watch
our
your head,
districts,
please.
I also want to talk about something that Texas is taking advantage of that I've worked on a